El Grupo AVAL, owner of a financial corporation recently sanctioned in Washington for paying bribes in complicity with the Brazilian firm Odebrecht, had already gone through a major scandal in the U.S. Another bank in the conglomerate pleaded guilty in 1989 to laundering money for the Cartel de Medellín.
Producción de vándalos.
Last August, the United States government imposed a fine of $80 million on Grupo AVAL of Colombia for paying bribes to public officials in that country in complicity with the multinational Odebrecht.
La gente de bien.
According to an investigation by journalist Gerardo Reyes, 34 years ago, a bank from Sarmiento Angulo's organization was accused, along with Pablo Escobar and other leaders of the Cartel de Medellín, of a gigantic money laundering operation. That March 30, 1989, correspondents in Washington filled the press room of the Department of Justice where Attorney General FBI Director William S. Sessions and DEA Chief John Lawn were waiting to explain the details of what was called Operation Polar Cap. In front of a map crossed by arrows that connected the flow of gold and money between Colombia, Panama, the United States, Uruguay and England, the prosecutor explained how the offices of the Banco de in Panama and the main one in Colombia, where they lent to launder some $412 million from drug trafficking. In the same indictment, Pablo Escobar, his cousin Gustavo Gaviria, Jorge Luis Ochoa Vázquez and other leaders of the Medellín cartel were accused. The Sarmiento Angulo conglomerate accepted the bank's guilt and handed over, as confiscation, $5 million. The criminal accusation by the Atlanta court left no doubt that senior managers of the bank knew what was happening. According to the indictment, the Panama managers acted with the authorization of senior officials of the accused parent corporation, Banco de Occidente, Cali. The bank was for 13 years, 1972 to 1986, under the direction of Guillermo Sarmiento Angulo, the magnate's brother.
Aunque es difícil medirlo con precisión, la cantidad total de dinero sucio que se mueve y esconde en el sistema financiero es enorme, ronda cientos de miles de millones de dólares al año. Ese volumen de dinero que se mueve por el sistema bancario en particular hace que los bancos sean las instituciones al lavado y financiación del terrorismo.
The accusation of laundering against the Banco dates back to events that occurred starting in 1987. The president of the bank at the Cali headquarters was at that time Francisco Castro Zawadzki, who had replaced Sarmiento. Those transfers that went through the Banco were nothing more than the product of the cartel's sale of cocaine and marijuana in New York and Los Angeles. Sarmiento Angulo had deployed a vigorous lobbying campaign at the highest level. According to the New York Times, before the Colombian conglomerate pleaded guilty, then-President Virgilio Barco, on a visit to Washington, asked President George Bush that the bank not be sanctioned. Sarmiento, 90 years old, ranks 352nd on Forbes's list of the richest in the world with $7 billion in assets. The organization, managed mainly by his son Luis Carlos Sarmiento Gutierrez, controls a good part of the banking system of Central America, that of Colombia, the pension funds and one of the largest construction firms in that country.
La gente de bien.
Vándalos, subversión creativa.